talking about Toyota trucks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his Google ads started showing up Toyota Tacomas. And he was like, dude, he goes, they're listening. The robots are listening.
Someone's listening, but they're also looking for like key terms and stuff like that.
But they're listening to your phone as you're having a conversation.
You think?
Yes.
Are they listening to us? No, they're not. It seems that way because it seems like so invasive and so like immediate. But what they're really doing, they're watching every single little interaction, every little thing that you do. And by they, I mean artificial intelligence, not necessarily a person, although there is a person monitoring the robot, so to speak. There's not just one human back there like, you know, manipulating this whole thing. It's all systems that are set in place, and once you know about them and know how they work, it's all actually very logical as to why it happens to you. Recently, I bought a Toyota Highlander. Now, this is not, I gotta say something, as a 44-year-old, this is not a sexy car.
I'm not trying to be sexy, man.
Okay, it's a functional, kind of economical, yet a little stylish kind of SUV thing if you have like families, but I don't think there's any 22-year-old hot chicks being like, damn, look at Mr. Baker in that Highlander. No, not happening. It all starts with looking for something on Google, or interacting with something in a social news feed of some kind, whether that's on Facebook or LinkedIn. You began your journey by typing in 2019 Toyota Highlander best lease deals in Connecticut. So from a search, you land at a website. Now, what happens when you land on a website? This is where number one tactic, and this is probably the most common one that most people know about, or they at least know that this exists, but they don't really know why it's happening or how it's happening. So here I am to explain remarketing and retargeting. Basically the same thing. It's when you visit a website and you leave the website and all of a sudden the ads for the thing on that website appeared everywhere. It almost seems as if they're following you around the internet, because they are. It can happen if you visit a website. It can happen if you interact with something in a social news feed like on Facebook or Instagram. So retargeting and remarketing, if installed correctly, will happen across Google. It'll happen across anywhere that Google ads are being served. So that would be places like AccuWeather. It'd be on apps who are ad supported on your phone, YouTube, wherever there's Google ads being served. That's potential for you to see the ad for the remarketing for that thing that you're looking for. Once you leave the website, you've now opted into, unbeknownst to yourself, advertising overload for the thing that you're looking for.
Log off. That cookie shit makes me nervous.
So let me explain the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn interactions in the news feed. So if you engage with something in a news feed on a social network, and the digital marketer on the other end has their, you know, all their ducks in a row, now, just because you've interacted with that, now you can be advertised to as part of a list. Like, let's use Facebook as an example. If you've interacted with a page in the last 180 days, I can deliver an ad to you.
Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Go on, get out. You heard me.
If you've watched more than 3 seconds of a video that I've published in the last however long, I can send an ad to you. So if someone's visited a website and they have all the things in place, you're just going to get bombarded with ads everywhere you go. And the more you interact, the more fresh it is. You just kind of reset that thing, and it just continues to happen until you've finally ended your journey and either purchased the car or you just stop searching for the thing. So another digital ad type that I find to be kind of a little bizarre, creepy, a little bit invasive, but very powerful if you're on the advertising end, is geofencing, Geo-fencing. And that basically means that you, from a satellite, you carve a digital fence around a specific location, like a concert venue, auto dealership, Target, the whole mall. You know, the location has to be a little bit bigger. Like, you can't target like a boutique in a downtown area, because you'll just get anyone that's relatively close to that. So like if your boutique sells stuff for houses by the beach and there's like a Dunkin' Donuts next door and then an Irish pub next door to that, you're going to advertise to everybody in that little area. You'll still get the people in that little place, but it's not that small of an area. So you want to kind of reserve the geofencing thing for bigger kind of places. But what that allows you to do is send direct targeted ads to people in that location at the exact time that they're in the location to make a purchase or upsell them on something, or track their purchase, or track how long they spent in the store, and then ultimately get back to remarketing. You can then remarket to the people who you've geofenced and deliver them ads as they just travel around freaking life. And that's a little weird, a little invasive. When used in combination with other tactics, it's actually a very powerful tool, although very crazy.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
So another one are those little chat bots in the bottom of websites now. Okay, those little chat bots. They're not innocent little chat bots. And chances are you're not even talking to a person right out of the gate. They're kind of robot-run conversation starters. So they make it appear like there's a human there.
The CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer.
And they put like a little smiling face like, hey, what up? I see you're on the website. Let me know if you have a question. I don't have a question, but let's say you left now. But when you saw that chatbot, now, in addition to getting the cookies and all this other stuff for all the other things I already mentioned, now the chatbot's got its own set of tools that it's going to use to hunt you down. So the chatbot will potentially grab your IP address. The chatbot could potentially take your email information if you've tried to interact but didn't get a quick enough response, and then all of a sudden they have your email address, which is a whole other bag of tricks that we'll get into in another show. And then you leave, and then you come back. Now the chatbot knows that you've left the website and come back. But if that chatbot knows that you've been back to that site, to the specific page, like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, literally will open up a conversation with you based on the fact that you've been to this page looking at this thing 5 times. So you can configure the chatbot to do things based on the amount of times that people have come back to the site, what page they've visited, and how many times they frequented that page, and the information that's on the page. So you can open up a real-time conversation that you can man from a phone, like a texting situation, but you can initiate it from robot intelligence, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Also, a pretty powerful tool. The one that I prefer is called intercom.io. Solid tip right there.
That boy is good.
All of these things are really they're just watching and tracking your interactions. And as time goes on, the area is getting smaller and it's getting more refined and how they can actually target you as a human. So you're walking around with this thing in your hand, and from above, just picture there's a line coming down to you, and it's knowing where you are and what you're doing, it being the technology that's available right now in 2019. Your pinpoint precision of where you are and what you're doing and what your interests were and what your intent was. All of these things to sell you something. It's quite incredible. It really is. It can make you feel, if you're on the end of establishing all this stuff and running this stuff and looking at the statistics and analytics, and you start to feel like a magician, right? Like, I feel sometimes like it's magic, but, the true magic comes from the developers and the people who've created these mechanisms. So that's it. Sneaky Ad Types 2019. Hope you learned something. I'm Michael Baker. I'm a consultant in Orange, Connecticut. If you want me to help you with your business and your digital advertising needs, I'd be happy to. Just reach out at michaelbakerdigital.com. Peace.